In the early 1990s, my former husband Simeon and I, when we were living here in Crestone, Colorado, we took a journey to Chaco Canyon in New Mexico. It was a guided journey by Thoth, and it was really an amazing experience. We didn't see beings or anything like that, but just the presence of the Holy was very much there. And as a result, Thoth gave me information from the Akasha on this very special and sacred place. Before I begin, though, I want to mention that Chaco Canyon, along with many other sacred places in North America, were established in their highest dimension, you might say, the way it was organized and brought into focus as a spiritual center. It might have had something previous to that, but what really made it come alive in that sense were people who had come from the Maya lands. They were migrators. They left at the time when the Mayans were descending into their practice of sacrifices and things like that were not at all in accord with the High Maya, who were the mixture of the Pleiadian and the Mayans. So this was a later period in the Mayan Empire that was in decline. And the remnants of the High Maya gathered together and in various waves migrated to North America to find other places they could establish the higher frequencies that their ancestors had worked with. One of the beings who led these migrations, in fact, I believe the first migrations, would have been Temple Dor. She was a female, and she had quite a history. I will probably be doing a video on that in the future. I just want to mention that because a lot of what we're seeing here is a connection to the High Maya and what they originally brought to Chaco Canyon and its initiations. Chaco Canyon served as a central archive for esoteric knowledge, particularly the maintenance of region's ceremonial calendar. The structures in Chaco Canyon were not intended for mundane purposes, but for cosmic spiritual functions. Rooms in these buildings were small, lacked openings for air, and had no roof holes for smoke ventilation. Many entrances were sealed with stone masonry long before abandonment. The buildings of the ancient Chacoan culture contained solar and lunar cosmology in their orientations, internal geometry, and geographic interrelationships. Recent studies suggest these structures were created to align with the cycles of the sun and the moon. According to the Thoth Akasha, the temples in Chaco Canyon were designed to be played by the frequencies of the earth, wind, and cosmos, amplified by human voice and instrumentation. They were built according to the sacred geometry of the music of the spheres, with some rooms sealed off to create new harmonies similar to changing the vibration on a violin string. Guardians, priests, and priestesses of Chaco, known as the Kanti, that is Kantii, or the prescribed ones, offered themselves to hold a point of entry into the spirit world. The temples, referred to as the place of the singing spirits, were intended to serve both the earth and the spirit realm. Superimposed in another dimension over the ruins of the Grand Kiva in Chaco Canyon, Pueblo Bonito, various geometries form this interdimensional kiva Thoth is calling the Illstanza, that is Illstanza, meaning perfect form. The temples were referred to as the place of the singing spirits, indicating their role in facilitating spiritual communication and ceremonies. One of these geometries is the infinity mandala. Another is Ezekiel's wheel. The Illstanza is represented by the 1,000-petal lotus, and thus the kiva's interior divisions are 1,000 chambers. Most of these 1,000 chambers are very small resounding enclosures which serve the purpose of capturing all sound given off within the kiva and producing a harmonic vibration like the inside of a giant wind instrument. Bear in mind again, he's speaking here of the Illstanza, which is the interdimensional kiva, above, if you can use such a linear term, the actual kiva below. The opening to this interdimensional kiva bears a sculpted ram's head above the door. There are 4 major doorways inside the first, totaling 5 doors or paths. The first door all initiates must enter in order to pass through the other 4. Once the path of the ram has been taken, it is up to the initiate to know which of the other 4 paths he or she must embark upon at this time. Each initiate knows that eventually he must experience all 5 paths. As revealed in Ezekiel's vision, the 4 paths after the 5th are designated by the archetypes of the lion, the bull, the eagle, and the man. Within the hollow earth is raised the Illstanza Kiva in physical form, duplicating its counterpart on the inner plane. Among the 12 sacred tribes of the hollow earth domain, this kiva is the essential activator of the perfect form realization within those initiates of the medicine wheel who are to become masters of power service to the planet. No ordained shaman, priest, science master, or adept of any of the knowledge arts can be granted entrance into that power field before first receiving the realization of his own perfect form. This is called the Ziramund, or perfect vision. It is achieved by entering the Illstanza Kiva, which is more than a symbolic representation, but is a vibratory furnace or amplitude grid for awakening the crown chakra of the body. This, the most sacred of light centers in the body, is the portal to the perfect form, or fulfillment of divine perfection that is our true reality beyond the gates of past, present, and future. After the initiate has entered each of the doors or gates behind the ram's gate, he or she is presented with 3 further entrances, these being the Trinity of the Godhead. Once past these doors, he finds himself surrounded with the song of the vision perfect, humming through the sacred kiva. This intoning hum is created in the 1,000 chambers of the kiva as the initiate's spirit being becomes awakened to his own life song. It is the unifying of all melody in the earth. It is the sounding of the humpback whales who play Earth's dream song through their fluted bodies, the music of the last species. It is the splash of rose petals falling into a hidden pool and a mockingbird's laughter. This song captures the sounds unheard by the human ear, the heavenly choir of stars as their sensitive rays strike the hollow earth's bell-like mantle, nature devas in a mountain valley. All breaths of life are set to the music of the initiate's soul. As he walks through the grand lotus, the perfect form emerges in his realization of self. The Illstanza Kiva is a recreation of the engramic stimuli within the brain that unlocks soul-spirit transcendence. Should one not be ready to see perfection within, the stone kiva below on the earth would be no more than stone to him, and he would not realize or see or know the Illstanza. And the great sounding of life, the song of songs, would be largely unheard by his ears. What he did hear would be disharmony, for it would be his own cluttered illusion transported to him in sound. Thus, it is only that single person who may either be opened to the lotus or remain closed to the sun, regardless of the Illstanza or any device, even one of a divine nature. The gateways of the Trinity are within the logos of the fish of Pisces. This includes the cetaceans and is represented in the Bible by the whale of Jonah, the goat of Capricorn, and the crab of Cancer. However, the logos containing the emblematic emblem of a mantric frequency charge of these stations will change, and indeed has changed through time. The Illstanza is in fact change itself, embodied in an instrument of nature and man. Just as the fragile lotus flower is in transit from life to death and beyond, so is the human element. Only the spiritual identity of perfect form remains the same, and even this must be perceived from a moving train of quantum dynamics within the soul's patterning. That is, until the man or woman embodied spirit cuts the cord of karma and sails past the golden ram's gate into the sea of perfect form. Here all illusion is transparent and holds to nothing but its own mask. The stars of mind are stoked by the archangels in a fiery furnace of spirit, and the soul is torn from the dragon's heart to become a lamb at the feet of the shepherd. The principle of the Illstanza is represented in Parsifal by Wolfram von Eichenbach as the city called Petalmund, Petal Mound. This is elaborated upon in Trevor Ravencroft's The Cup of Destiny. To quote from Ravencroft's text, and I quote here, "It is the 16-petal lotus flower which Wolfram is describing, and it is this very organ of the crown chakra represented by the lotus, which gives an insight into the working of the laws of destiny, or karma." Unquote. While Petalmund was the embodiment of the 16-petal lotus, Illstanza is the continuation of the eightfold path to the 1000th power, which in light mathematics corresponds to the infinitesimal of the grand mandala of the infinite. This concludes the reading. So what really is the Illstanza and its relationship to the kiva that once existed and does in ruins below it on the earth, the Pueblo Bonito? First of all, there's much more to the complex than just that. There are many other aspects of all of it. But this is focusing on the crown jewel, I guess you could say, the petal lotus, which is personified in the relationship between the interdimensional Illstanza and the grand kiva below it. We have really two types of facilitators here. We have the Kanti, which are the Native Americans, the special facilitators of that grand kiva and its connection to the Illstanza. And of course, these are all descendants of the High Mayans. But then we also have the beings in the Illstanza who are high supernal spiritual beings. Let's just put it that way. They come from various star-kindred hollow earth races, but they are able to move past their time physical embodiments to serve as guides and initiators in that higher interdimensional realm. So now I would like to just take you into a conclusion here, which is the process itself, something that allows you the feeling, the experience of this initiation. And this is something you can carry on with you into your dream time, into your life, any way you choose to bring that chord of spirituality into your being.